I'll have to get these in, or they'll get
Oh yeah, that's fine.
1 second, sorry. But I know why it's feeding.
Not at all, Michael, not at all.
Yeah.
Now it's the 9th of May with Michael O'Mara.
Come on, just stay quiet. Stop, get down, Daisy. Scratch your legs too, you know, because Angela has very soft things and they throw blood out for it and things, you know. Come on, dog. See, 1 second. If you excuse me 1 second, I'll feed you.
No, so the 9th of May with Michael O'Mara.
That's right.
Okay, now Michael, maybe if you start, when did you start in O'Mara's?
I started in 1950
Okay.
as a trainee.
Yeah.
And my dad was very old-fashioned, that you weren't a trainee, that you went to university and got a degree for this, that, and you went into the factory and you went to the dirtiest job. Imagine a place where we were killing pigs and everything like that. Had to do all that right through. And then I went to Denmark and I trained in Denmark, in a factory in Denmark, because they were very ahead of their times, or at that time.
Yeah.
And so when I came back, the people in the factory that I would eventually become some kind of a manager would know that I knew what they knew.
Okay.
And that was my dad's philosophy. You could not be a manager unless the people you were managing knew that you knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very good philosophy, you know.
Yeah.
Not very nice at the time.
Very
so
good.
I did that, and being a family business then, you just worked your way up. I was 10 years going from one. We had a couple of factories. We'd one up in Donegal and Letterkenny. We'd one in Claremorris. We'd one in Limerick, and we'd a farm in Leitrim.
Very good. Was the farm for pigs, Michael, or?
Yeah, we'd a pig and sheep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had one of the biggest pig farms in the country on one site.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we fellas would have much more pigs, but we had 1,900 sows on it. I tell you.
That's a big farm.
Yeah, and 22,000 fattening.
Okay, 22,000.
450 acres.
I didn't know that, Michael. Yeah. Where did you say that was again?
In Leitrim, Newtown Gore. And beautiful county.
Yeah. And they were all for the factory, Mars.
Yeah, 1,000 a week used to come off of the farm, our own farm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Into the Claremorris factory, mostly.
And what come into the Claremorris factory? Was that bigger than Limerick, or?
Claremorris was the biggest of the three of them.
Okay.
By a long shot. And actually no one has ever asked me about Claremorris.
Really?
And the history of Claremorris is far more interesting than any of the rest of them. Actually far more.
Okay.
I'll tell you why afterwards.
Definitely.
It did far more. The pigs were only a part of it. And particularly during the war years. And I grew up there. I was born up there. But my dad lived in Claremorris because it was in between. It was near Limerick and near Letterkenny.
Okay.
But we were nomadic because he would suddenly decide something was wrong in Limerick, and we'd be taken out of school in Claremorris, and the company owned a house in the city, in Ennis Road.
Yeah.
And we'd come from the heart of the country
down
into the city and be off to the national school around the corner, which was called the Salesians, I think.
Yeah, and so that wasn't a big deal then to be chopping in school?
No, we were there for maybe 6 months, a year maybe once. We were there for a year once.
Yeah.
Back out, up to Claremorris, into the national school in Claremorris. Back down again, 6 months in the place in the Crescent. There was a school there called the Crescent, like the Comp now.
Like the Crescent Comp, right.
And I was 6 months there, and then went back to Claremorris again. And of course, where we were living, there was no sport much or anything like that, but we always had a few horses.
Yeah.
And if there was a hunt on a Monday in the South Mayo Harris, I was gone on the hunt. If it was on a Thursday now and again with the Galway Blazers or the North Mayo Harriers, I'd be off school again until my mother wouldn't put up with this anymore.
Really?
We were banged off to boarding school.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I went to 6 schools as a result of all that.
All the chopping and changing. Yeah. And did you ever go up to Donegal, or?
Oh, I did. I spent a year up there. I think maybe more, and on and off 6 months or 3 months relief work, and then I did van sales work all over Ireland, and the van sales going around.
Michael, oh my God, you've loads done.
Then I got small management jobs, that like a supervisor in one part of one of the factories or something.
Okay.
And then I got a management job of one of the factories. And then I went on. That was for. Oh no, I can't remember. But I know in 1970 my father died. And I took over from him then, so I was the longest managing director in the company, because I was 17 years in the job. And to my discredit, it was wound up during my period. We had 15 years, probably the best we ever had, but the last 2 years, we were always cash positive, and we never bought machinery or did up factories unless we could pay for it instantly. No question of, no need for the banks. But then we joined the EU, as it was in those days. We had 3 factories that had to be brought up to
the EU standards.
Specific standards from which there was no return. Things like, for example, in Letterkenny we had to put an effluent plant that cost, I think, 800,000 in those days.
Okay.
And you don't make any money out of that.
That's just for
but
the
we got
waste,
huge grants. In Letterkenny, I think we got 70% grants. Claremorris, we redid the whole factory. Limerick, we did a certain amount, but you were very limited. We weren't able to reach some of the standards because in the middle. Do you know where the factory was?
Yeah, on Rocha Street.
Where the car park is.
You restricted
it was a complete block.
Wise,
yeah. And if you go into that factory, the car park, there's one place out there where it's all tiled, white tiles. If you're, I actually got those put up.
Just remember the factory.
Oh, I was manager at the time.
Yeah.
And we modernised that, and those tiles are the only thing that's left.
I get you now. Okay.
Yeah. Before that was
just concrete. Yeah. So why did you put in the tiles then? Just
we were trying to get it up to the EU standard.
Yeah.
And but then effluent was you couldn't build an effluent plant.
Yeah. What was the effluent for? That's the waste, isn't it?
All the waste. Yeah.
And where was it going, Michael?
Into the Shannon. Yes.
Okay.
And into the Robe up in Claremorris, and into the Swilly or something at Donegal. But that's what went on for years.
But that's what happened. That was normal.
Yeah. I don't know. I presume the river was polluted, but we never heard about it.
Yeah.
But fortunately, then I saw the writing on the wall. We had over £1 million spent on modernisation, more actually.
Between the 3 factories, is it?
Between two, particularly, at that stage. And we were due 70% grants to that.
Okay.
Plus the fact, I remember at the same time, we were shipping an awful lot of stuff to Japan, and the bottom fell out of the market. And we had another £1 million worth of stuff in cold stores all over the place.
Yeah.
And the banks started to suddenly realise that they had no security. They had nothing. And they got panicky.
Okay.
And we were dealing with about 5 banks, which was because of the exports.
Yeah.
There was the Bank of Ireland, was the lead bank. We did an account on the farm and the AIB.
Okay.
We did an ACC loan on the farm too, I think.
Yeah.
It was on the farm, yeah. We had the Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank for the foreign trading in Japan.
Yeah.
And with the Chase Manhattan Bank.
Okay.
And when the big got troubled, the banks got all uneasy, and they were terrified that one bank could get more security than the other. It was a bloody nightmare.
When was this, Michael? What time frame?
1986, 87.
Yeah. Before it closed then.
Yeah. And I remember sitting in front of all those fellas one time, and they arguing about their own things, and they'd written all their own documents, you know.
Yeah.
And one was saying their document was better than the other.
Right.
And I don't know that I should be telling you this, but anyway, we were a public company at that stage.
Yeah.
And some of the non-executive directors, who would be other directors, they would be professional directors, decided that our legal advisor wasn't good enough, that we'd have to go to Mason, Hayes and Curran. I shouldn't mention that by name, but anyway.
Well, I can cross it off, yeah.
And they gave us a fella to represent. He was supposed to represent us. He was about 40 years of age. He had been in America for a good few years. He wore a green coat down to here with a what do you call it?
Scarf?
No, don't you know those colours? Like corduroy.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was beautifully, immaculately dressed. But I remember him sitting down, and he had written a security for all the banks. And he kept telling them that his document was better than all theirs because it was done properly.
Yeah.
And the funny side of it, except I thought it was funny, but it was against us.
Yeah.
Whoever the agricultural correspondent at the AIB bank was there, and he was a real rough man, you know, and he was sitting there facing him like that, you know, and he was listening to this fella, and this fella was giving me a pain in the arse too.
Yeah.
He was my own solicitor, excuse me, but anyway, he was too smart for words, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
But this fellow in the IB looked up. I never saw anybody so rude in all my life to someone. He pointed his finger at him and he said, "Listen, Sonny," he said, "how bad can you get, you know? Listen, Sonny," he said, I'll pack my own parachute and I know where the ripcord is.
Oh my God.
Anyway, at the end of it, they had great difficulties with the security. But we ended up that we got joined a merger with 3 other companies.
Okay.
And we didn't owe a penny to anybody, thank God. And we paid all our workers their entitlements, plus they all got extra redundancy money, and we didn't owe a penny to anybody. The banks, nobody, nothing. Everything was paid.
And that was it then?
That was it. The only thing, we'd no pension ourselves, because we always figured our shares was going to keep us going.
Yeah.
And ended up with, I was the only one that hadn't a pension. There were
but they lost it.
Accountants that were there for 3 years and they were able to get a full pension. It doesn't bother me. But our shares would have been worth about €3 or €4 at one stage. I think we got 11 pence for them, you know. Might have turned them up, you know.
Oh my God.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
I know.
We've managed since, you know. And but it was kind of sad after 150. It was exactly 150 years. Well, it was 2 years short.
But still, it's fair enough.
And the 5th generation was in it. My eldest son was in it.
Oh my God. So fine.
And my youngest son was in it for a while, but he was much more adventurous. And
about 50 years. Just write that down, Michael.
You don't follow the rugby, do you? No?
Not really, no.
My youngest fellow played rugby for Munster.
Did he?
And played professional rugby in South Africa. They used to get paid in this country at that time.
Yeah.
But he went off and played for East London in South Africa, and he got paid there, and he came home and he opened a wine shop.
He did. Michael, it's him, Michael as well, isn't it?
The wine buff.
Yeah, I emailed him. No, I did. I emailed him to ask him had he anything that he'd like to share or anything. That's mad now. What a small world. Yeah, that's gas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's his career now.
Yeah. How bad?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
And the other fellow is still in the meat business.
Is he?
Has a very good job.
Where is this, Michael? It's nothing to do with him.
No, he's working with a Scottish company, and he's sales manager for them or something, or export manager or whatever. He works from home, but he's away. He's in Germany now today or something like that, and he's in Edinburgh next Thursday, and he's away all the time. Which is, I know he does it, but he does it. Good. But he has a very good job, and I mean, I tell you, he wouldn't move to Scotland.
Okay.
And they still kept him on, which was lucky. He refused to move, and he was going to change, but they kept him on. And that's 15 years ago.
Okay.
And here in Ireland, he doesn't do much work in Ireland, but they give him a new BMW, a big one, every 2 years.
For being with the company.
And his office is at home. He gets allowances for his office.
Fair play to him, though. How bad? Fair play to him.
Yeah. But anyway, he worked full time with me for a couple of years.
Right. In the Limerick factory, was it?
He was in the Clamar. He was in the 3 of them. He worked in Denmark too. Actually, he went to Denmark to train.
So you weren't just based in one, Michael. You were moved. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And was your dad the same when he was?
No, my dad would be. He was started Clamars, and he lived there. And we had our own piece. We'd a little bit of land, and and our house was there.
Yeah.
And but he was from Limerick. I mean, we would have been a Limerick family.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah. Actually, we had a factory in Canada as well at one stage, and a factory in Russia, which is surprising.
Oh, the Russian one, yeah.
Yeah, that was my grandfather.
I didn't know about Canada. So you had a factory in Canada. Where in Canada was it? Do you remember?
Gee, but I should know now, because I was supposed to go out there at one stage as a trainee. In Saskatchewan someplace. I can't...
Okay, well,
Saskatoon, I think, was the name of the place, yeah.
And you'd one in Russia. So did your family
the Russian thing was gone. I mean, I know nothing about it. My father would have. My grandfather was there, but at the revolution he was thrown out. And he was thrown out of Russia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean the factory. They took over the factory.
Yeah, the Russians did.
Yeah, and by his side, how that factory was developed was. I had another. He'd be. My father's uncle, whatever that is, or something, I think.
Yeah.
And he was an opera singer. He was quite well known.
The tenors.
Yeah, Joseph O'Mara, yeah.
Yeah.
And they made a lot of money in those days. Opera singers and comedians and things. There was no television, no radio.
Yeah.
And they made quite a bit of money. And he knew them all because he used to sing in Covent Garden, he used to sing in New York and things like that. And he knew all the comedians and things. And they wanted to invest money. And he suggested they tried this factory in Russia.
Yeah.
And they put money into it, and my family put money into it. And my grandfather went out to start it with 3 or 4 fellas from Limerick, and he got it up and running. And I don't know if it's still going or not, you know.
And
but he was run out of it anyway, you know.
Fair Very. Why was he run out of it, Michael?
The revolution in Russia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Tsars would have been there in his time, you know, and then there was the Russian Revolution, and they took over everything, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And they were all curing the Limerick way then. Do you remember about the curing, Michael? What type of cure was used in Limerick?
I do, yeah.
What was it? Was it?
It was completely different to nowadays. It was sides of pork. You know, bacon comes from your pork. You know that. Some people don't actually, but they do.
Yeah.
And the sides of pork, you know what a big side looks like.
Yeah.
Well, the side gets trimmed on conveyor belts and everything like that, and certain parts are taken off, like the ribs are taken out, the feet are taken off, and square. It's done. But then the whole side would go down into big, huge vats. Yeah. Where there could be 200 pigs, like 200 sides, which would be 100 pigs in one vat, and it had to be battened down with strong battens that it wouldn't come up, and then it was filled with a very strong solution of salt and saltpetre to hold the colouring and things like that. That was about all, not like now. That was the only additives. And then it became very salty, like salt water. So if you didn't batten them down, they'd shoot up like that. They'd all float up to the top. Okay. And they were left in that for a week, and after a week, and that was quick. Before that, I'll go back years ago, that wasn't done. That was fairly modern. You took that, and then they lift up, and they'd be stacked away for another week, and then they'd be sent out to the shops in full size, and they'd be cut up at the shops. Now, that was up until about 1960. In 1960, it all changed, and all the sides were cut into backs and streaks and legs and forends and shoulders and everything, and they were all cured separately.
And why was that, Michael?
About 1960.
No, but why? Why were they cured separately?
Because all the supermarkets were coming, and the small grocers were going out of business. The fellas that would put a side of bacon up and slice it, that was disappearing. So everything had to be packed for the consumer into plastic bags. Okay. And the deterioration in quality is unbelievable when that had to be done.
Did it?
Yeah, because you had to put additives in to keep the colour, you had to put in things to hold the liquid. You had to, every go you could think of had to go in to keep the shelf life. And that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, to me, it'll never be the same, you know. But
that's
you get some good ones.
Yeah.
But before that, but I never saw it in my time. The bacon was just cured. It was stacked up, covered in salt. They'd stack up and they'd have to leave it for 6 weeks.
Only salt, that was it.
And then after 6 weeks, they could take it and they'd sell it, and that was what bacon was.
Yeah. And Michael, did they ever use the brine pump? Do you know anything about that?
Oh yeah, the injection, yeah.
So when
I forgot to mention that. Before they go into the tank, they were injected.
Okay, so what was the difference? Why did that happen before it went into the tank?
Because to get the circle, get enough brine into the carcass, into the thick parts.
Okay.
And in fact, I was worked on a design to make an automatic one. Okay. Before it used to be done by a needle, a couple of men doing it into the mud. But in Switzerland, with a Swiss engineer, I went over to Switzerland for a while, and he came back here, and eventually he designed a machine, because you see all the sides were slightly different size. But he invented a machine that the needles would only go where they'd touch something, and they'd go up and down.
And were you the first to use that then, Michael, in Limerick?
We experimented the first one in Limerick.
That's mad.
And then we had it into the other 3 factories. And that was marvellous, because you had terrific control over what was going in. You knew exactly what you could put in. Whereas with the man and the needle, depending on how long he was going to press it, you never knew what... most of them were excellent. But you get the odd fella that just didn't give a sugar and put in too much or put in too little, and But this thing was brilliant.
Okay.
A little Swiss engineer who can give tuppence for it. And he had a small factory. And it became the norm then, all over. Does that?
It's very good, Michael. Sorry, I'm just writing that down. Michael, do you remember anything about competition? Between...
By the way, I'm very deaf through.
Oh, sorry.
Michael. Don't worry.
Anything about competition between the factories, or even with Denmark or anything?
Oh, gee, desperate competition, yeah.
Okay, that's maybe local.
Yeah, there was. When I started, I think there were 52 factories in the country. I think there's only 4 now.
Okay.
Yeah, and the competition between them for the home market was terrific, But our company would have been. I think we were more export orientated. We never were very much in the home market, like mattresses or Denny's were name, you know, for everyone. But I don't think we ever were a name here.
You think you were more for exporting?
Yeah, we used to go to mostly England, France, Italy, Germany, Japan. And we used to do a bit in America, which was very hard to keep up.
They had their own bacon though.
Oh, they had, and when the Americans had plenty of supplies, they made the standards harder, so you're very hard to get past their United States Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
And then when they were short, they'd be over, and you'd be able to get everything. You'd ship for a while. It was very hard to get. Japan was marvelous, but
was it? Okay. That's good.
Anyway, they were all. There was fierce competition in it, and fierce competition for buying the pigs.
And okay, why is that, Michael?
Because in those days, it had 52 factories, and they all wanted to get their throughput up to it. You had to put through a certain amount every week, because otherwise it would be uneconomic.
And what would that be? Would it be the 1,000 a week?
In Limerick, it would have been about at maximum 2,000.
Right.
Claremorris would be 3, maybe 4.
Right.
Donegal would be 1 or 2,000.
Okay.
And to get those pigs in every week, we were one of the few. We used to advertise in the paper, and we used to advertise that was our price.
Yeah.
Whereas the others didn't. There could be one price for one and one for another.
Okay.
But then in later years, you had to do contracts, because as the farmers got bigger and bigger, and I remember, and the funny thing, we used to run on a shoestring. Like, I was managing director. We'd no HR man. We had no quality control man. We'd have a chemist in the factory or something like that.
Okay.
We had one accountant in Limerick until later years. The EU demanded we had to have an accountant in every factory.
Okay.
And then the accountant in every factory had to get an assistant accountant. We ended up with more accountants and things. And I can see it in modern life now. But my managing director says, you were like a duck and thunder. I'm not joking you. You'd be up in Claremorris and something would go wrong on the farm.
Yeah.
And you go back to the farm, and I'd say to Angela, I'll be home now about 8, you know. And the next day you come home and someone say you have to go up to Dublin because so-and-so's coming in from someplace. And you go up to Dublin to meet him. And sometimes I mightn't see the family for a week. You should hear my wife in it. But and then the next thing, and 'twas so, you couldn't plan it. The stuff in Japan or something, to be some big complaint. There was nobody to send, so you went to Japan.
Yeah.
And you sorted it out. In the meantime, there'd be something wrong in Donegal, or we really ran on a shoestring.
Okay, so you were over the 3 factories at the time, right?
Yeah, and the farm.
How did you start off? So when you came in to be trainee, what were you doing? What was your role then? When you started off being trained, we'll say. I went in as a supervisor into
Claremorris, I think, first.
Okay.
And I was a supervisor in just one department. And then I got provided I mean, people think in theory I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, because you were into that job and that was it, But the silver spoon was fairly rusty, I'll tell you, because when you work for your family, you'd be made to work twice as hard as any other fellas.
I can imagine.
And you had to give example. You could never do this, you could never do that. And my father was real Victorian, but and then the pay was terrible. As family, I mean, I remember I was on £1 a week for 2 years. And there were fellas coming in, younger fellas than me, and they were getting £10 a week or something.
Yeah.
And then I got £10 a week eventually when I was supervisor. And I was actually on £10 a week when I asked Angela to marry me.
Yeah.
And a week after, they put me on 1,000 a week.
It's very good.
1,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. I've lost track now. My brain is gone. But I know we had nothing, and everyone thought, the family, they're very well. I got a company car eventually.
Yeah.
That was the thing,
And did Angela work with you, Michael?
No, she didn't.
No. Okay.
My wife was from Hong Kong, incidentally.
Oh my God! Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. How? She's Scottish.
I thought when you said that you.
Yeah. Do you know her?
No.
Oh, I thought you knew her.
No, I only met her.
She's secretary of the Limerick Horse Show. You know that?
She's what?
She's secretary of the Limerick Horse Show for 23 years. Okay. She's the longest secretary they ever had.
Very good. Yeah. Hard worker. Oh my God.
She knows every horse and every bullock and every thing come to Limerick. She's at work now.
Yeah. I know. I only met her. I was only talking to her on the phone. That's it. Yeah. That's mad, Michael.
She's very efficient.
Is she?
Oh yeah, very cheap.
Good woman.
I mean, she's a computer expert and into technology and all that kind of stuff.
Very good.
And then she works hard, I must say, because I never answered the phone. When I was here for years, every time the phone rang, it was for me, you know, and I mean, it was this, that, or the other thing, every time. Well, it's gone a long time now.
Yeah.
No, I never answer the phone now, because it's never for me anyway. And I mean, if I pick it up with somebody to know someone has a bull with one tooth, will he be able to answer it? I don't know, I mean, just gas.
Yeah.
And she knows them all.
She's God fair play to her. Okay, Michael, can we chat about the food exhibitions? Did you ever go over to those in Liverpool? In London,
they were before my time now.
Okay.
They were very much in France and England.
Yeah.
And that's English anyway.
That one is Liverpool.
I think we've a couple of French ones, and it was just in France and England they used to take place. It was for hams we won it, nothing else.
Just hams.
It was our Limerick ham. Had a reputation. It used to be on menus, Limerick ham, you know.
So why do you think, Michael, that it had a reputation? Why?
Because we never changed the cure for those hams. They were still the old dry cured ham. They never saw this brine or the injection, nothing like that at all. It used to take about 3 months to cure them.
So this ham that you put in for the exhibition was dry cure?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then what did you do? You went over with the cure. You went over with the ham.
Yeah.
And it was cured for 3 months.
You can't see one now, but if you saw them, there's nothing like them. The only thing that would look slightly like them.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Parma hams hanging up, and they're dry cured? It looks like that, only they look much better because the ham hams have all mould on them, you know, and they look. These things were shining. You could literally see your face in them. And our brand, which I have down the thing, was burnt into the skin, and O'Mara Limerick Limited was on the brand.
On the carcass of it,
And that's why Limerick got the name for hams, but the hams were cured separately. And we did that right up to the end. We used to do them at Christmas. Super Quinn now used to take them.
Super Quinn, okay.
And Fergal Quinn, who I know quite well, was our biggest customer in Ireland. But they had to get the best, absolutely best. I still shop there because they've changed now.
Yeah.
But you knew if you went into Super Quinns, the quality was so high that you wouldn't be in there unless you. I think it's different now. It's called Super Value now, isn't it?
Is it? I thought there was
two.
From
Castletroy.
Super Value. Is there? I think there still is a Super Quinn, isn't there?
Pardon?
Is there still a Super Quinn in Castletroy though?
No, they changed it recently because I went in there the other day and I couldn't believe it. I saw Super Value. It was taken over by Musgraves.
Right.
And they changed the name. I don't know why they changed the name because it was a name anyone that knew in those days. Super Quinn was the place to go to. Bread, anything, wine, anything was always. It might cost a few bob more, but it was high quality stuff, you know.
That's very good. I didn't know that, Michael. So when you went over with the hams, so was it?
Well, I never went over with the hams. No.
Okay.
No. My dad would have done, and my grandfather would have done. You'll find that's 18 something or 19 something, is it?
That's 1907.
Yeah, which is not be long before my time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm only 83.
Sorry, Michael. But you don't know how it was or anything. Did they cook the ham or anything?
No, it was sold raw on exhibition. But then everybody else was. The Danes were, the Dutch were Danes, Dutch, English. That'd be about it.
Okay.
French hams, yes. I don't remember any German competitors really, because we used to sell in Germany a lot actually.
Okay. It's very interesting though, isn't it?
You wouldn't sell in Holland no more. Dutch were very big into bacon products.
Were they?
Yeah. Still are.
Okay. And since when?
But they wouldn't be as big as Denmark. Denmark
was I had.
Actually, they were the real experts, and that's why. And they started. The first Danish factory was started from Denny's in Limerick, not our factory. They had trainees in there and they went over, and Denny's actually started a factory, and Denmark took way over from everyone in expertise and producing cheaper stuff and breeding. The Danes, it's an incredible country. As I say, I worked there. Absolutely delightful people to work with. A work ethic is unbelievable. You go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, you finish at 4. Not 2 minutes past 4, not 3 minutes past 4. At 4 you finish.
Yeah.
At 8 you're at your work table, and when you finish at 4 you go out. They're the greatest fun, and they're so. I loved living there actually.
Did you? How long were you there for?
It's about a year. My son was there too, you know.
Okay, and you went over for the bacon, did you?
Pardon?
You went over for the bacon factory?
Yeah. I worked in the factory there.
Okay.
And I worked in Sweden for a while too.
So the main thing, Michael, was that they were just breeding pigs better and just...
Oh, they were, yeah. They invented a pig called the landrace.
Yeah.
And the landrace had an extra rib, funny enough, I think. Now, I think it had actually 15 ribs instead of 14 or something. Okay. But it became a long, lean thing. Yeah. So there was only that much fat on it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the greatest thing, because I don't think the flavour, same flavour, and it didn't take the pH values and all kinds of things in curing bacon. And your pH values wouldn't be very difficult to find the right pH values in the land, I found anyway. Yeah. Whereas the old pigs that were fed, and there might be that much fat in them, pH values are perfect, and you can take the fat off, you know, and they had a much better flavour. But economically, the landrace pig was the answer to making profit.
Okay. Yeah,
without putting too much water in.
Okay.
Because most of these factories where you can put in liquid, the more liquid they get in, you're getting paid per kilo for water. And it takes away from the quality.
From the quality of the meat, I can imagine. I can get what you're saying.
Anyway, so
that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
County Council fellow said to me in Donegal one time, when we were having this problem with the effluent plant, he got very cross with me because we weren't agreeing to anything, you know. And he said, he said, if you're taking in 10,000 gallons of water a day, he said, you have to be putting out 10,000 gallons, you know. And I took great pleasure in saying, I'm terribly sorry, I said, but if we took in 10,000 gallons and put out 10,000 gallons, we'd be out of business.
Yeah.
Because you had to put some water into the cure to get paid to make a profit. Yeah. You know? Very little. But I mean, I just decided I had fired a bullet at him. Yeah. I don't think he knew what I was talking about, but the fellows around the table were
laughing. That's gas. Oh my God. Okay.
I don't know how you have the patience to listen to all this kind of bullshit.
No, but it's interesting though, Michael, because everyone has something different to say.
Yeah.
So it's good. You see the little dog is gone in there again.
Is she looking in?
Yeah, she's gone off that way.
Oh
yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think what else. What did you do for socialising, Michael?
Pardon?
What did you do for socialising?
Me?
Did you go out, or what was the normal thing to do?
Andrew and I?
No, in the bacon factory, sorry.
Oh, how do you mean no?
Yeah, so if, for example, like, did you ever go out for, like, retirement parties?
Oh, yeah. You would have them. If there would be Christmas parties, and there'd be, if someone's big birthday, or someone was 50, or, you know, there was all the usual kind of things, you know. Yeah. But not like the modern factories, so like where I'm working now. The whole calendar for the year of the things they're going to do is
planned out.
Up to the Christmas party.
Yeah, everything.
And I mean, they're very good about up where they're very good actually. If they do a thing for the workers' children, and there's a HR woman there. Sorry, is she knowing?
No, she's gone out again.
But and she's there for 3 or 4 years now. She's absolutely marvellous. You know, she really is. I wonder, I remember the first time she came, unbelievable. St. Patrick's Day, there were flags all over the place, and I don't know, she does extraordinary things. I don't know how she gets away with it, but which is right, because she's dead right. You know, I mean, anyone say what they like, you know, about the money you put into a factory and whether you make money or not. They're not exactly shy.
No.
But, in the final analysis, the biggest and most important thing in any job is the people.
Yeah.
And their investment into the factory is far more important than the money or the machinery or the customer or anybody else. Because if they have invested their lives and their families, so they would be number one. And that's why when you see these people doing these kind of things, I think they're great. No, we never did things like that, you know, but we did.
Yeah.
We knew everyone. For instance, a bit patronising and things like that, but we used to pay for funerals and things, you know.
Did you?
Yeah.
In the factory?
Yeah.
Michael, that's really nice of you.
Yeah. We had one of my uncles or something started a thing called the Stephen O'Mara Fund, and they had shares, and the money used to go into that, and then if someone was in trouble, we'd draw money out of that, or burials and funerals.
That's really good, Michael.
Well, that was good, yeah, but I mean, but we didn't do anything like they're doing now, you know. The outings are off to...
Yeah.
Nothing, I mean, like the air factory's going off to Paris for a week or something. I can show you wouldn't do anything like that.
No, not then anyway. No. I was going to say something there now and it's gone from me. Do you remember any characters in the factory, Michael?
Oh gee, there was loads of them.
Was there?
Oh,
was there any funny stories or?
I've loads of them. If I could take it. You could write a book if I could take it. Some of them were priceless. You know? I mean, Limerick was a very difficult factory. In the sense they had a guild.
Yeah.
And you couldn't employ. So stop, Rosie.
No, not at all.
Unless they were a member of the guild, you couldn't employ anybody. I couldn't employ a friend of mine.
Yeah, it has to be remembered.
But if Shaw's and Denny's were going at the time, and Matterson's, if Matterson's got slack and let fellas go, and we had fellas in that weren't part of the guild, no matter how good they were, we'd let them go and take the fellas that were let go.
Yeah.
Did you know about that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
hard going. Yeah, that's hard.
And so it was a very difficult place to manage. It was very hard to be patient sometimes with them, you know. But they were characters. Those fellas in the Limerick factory are real characters. I'll give you. My brain is going, but I'll give you one example.
Okay.
We used to we had a cooper in the factory for fixing barrels and things, because we used to ship things like pig's feet and pig's heads and all those kind of things to Trinidad.
Okay.
And they used to go in barrels. And we used to get the barrels from the wine merchants or the alcohol importers. Yeah. And the barrels might come in once a month or something. A couple of 100 barrels would come in. I can't mention this fellow's name now, because I know his name exactly. I know the fellow well, and this was years ago, because I was only a trainee at the time.
Okay.
When the barrels come in, everyone knew this fella would be ossified for about 5 days. Because, do you know what he was doing? He knew the whiskey barrels.
Yeah.
And he put boiling water into it, and it was 100% proof. And of course, to draw out the whiskey.
Yeah. And
every time there was a break, your man was down to take a sip of his thing. And someone would have to drive him home about 10 o'clock in the morning. And he was a great worker. I mean, any place else he'd be sacked.
Yeah.
But
like the whiskey.
Poor fella, I always remember him. He was one. I remember another old fella there. Tell you my age. When I was a trainee there as well, there was another old fella called. He had a mixer galvin, salt of the earth, and he used to smoke a clay pipe, which hard to believe in this day and age, you know.
Yeah.
Remember two things about him. Saltpetre used to be used in the curing of bacon, and saltpetre is an explosive, you know. I mean.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Well, the IRA use it, you know. Or nitrite. Nitrite and saltpetre are the same kind of product, you know. But Mixon used to smoke his clay pipe. In those days, to smoke in the line and everything like that, you know. But in the curing room, and where they were deboning and everything, there was refrigeration, and there were trays under it to take the drips off the refrigeration pipes that were there in those days. He used to leave his pipe up in the tray, and some of the wise guys got it out and took out the tobacco and put nitrite into it.
They didn't know, did they?
And then a man comes down. I witnessed this actually, and lit his pipe. And I think it was broken off the top to it, but it was smoking away. And the next thing, the flame would go up. And he took out his pipe. And I don't know what was going on. We were all watching him, you know.
He didn't know eyebrows or anything left.
And then he was going to just a little flame.
Yeah.
Every night when he hit a piece of nitrite. Yeah. That was one. And one more thing about him, like, that's the whole story. Just the funny stories he said another time.
Yeah.
I remember one time the pint of Guinness went from 1 shilling and 2 pence to 1 shilling and 6 pence.
Okay.
And the whole discussion in the factory that morning was never again. They would never touch a pint again. There was no way they were going to pay 1 and 6 pence for a pint, you know.
Yeah.
And here was poor old Mixon. He was about 70 years of age at the time. There was no nitrogen, they were puffing the pipe. He was listening to them all. Took out the pipe in it, brought it down. He said, "Do you know something?" He said, "I'll follow it to a pound," he said, "and I'll give it up then."
I'll what? I'll follow you?
I'll follow it to a pound.
Okay.
In other words, he gave himself about 40 years, because if it was 1 and 6 pence, it was going to at least 30 or 40 years to reach a pound for a pint. I mean, that there was nothing money wasn't going to stop him drinking his pint. They were all going to stop. They didn't stop it at all. They were wild.
No, of course not. Yeah. Where did everyone go drinking, Michael?
They'd be all around the local thing in the factory, I suppose. Well, then you see a lot of them lived down in Garryowen, and they lived down. A lot of them were ex-seamen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Limerick was a big port at the time. And
yeah.
A lot of them were at sea. Now I know one.
I didn't know that.
One of the greatest characters in the factory was a stoker on one of the Irish shipping ships back and forth Atlantic during the war. Terrible job. They used to be doing shoveling coal in, desperate heat. Big, strong man. And he was the fitter in the factory.
And when you say the fitter, what do you mean?
With maintenance man, you know.
Maintenance, okay.
He was unbelievable. He'd do anything for you. Yeah. Brilliant man. Paddy Murphy was his name.
Paddy Murphy, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely big man. There was no one ever going to tell Paddy what to do.
Yeah.
They'd be all after him, "You can't do this, Paddy, the union won't let you do it." They wouldn't dare. Paddy would do it. If there was something wrong, he'd fix it, you know.
Okay.
They wouldn't dare. I remember one time there was a strike in the factory.
Yeah.
And they told me not to load the lorry because it wouldn't go down to the boat and fines, and it's going to be sitting there. And I said to them, look, I can't, every time you fellas are going to go on strike, we might as well close the bloody place. I said, I want to load it, and if you go on strike, I'll find a way of dealing with it, whatever it is, Well, they said, don't say we didn't tell you or anything, And Paddy heard about it anyway, and he came in at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a big 40-foot lorry,
Yeah.
And I'd never driven anything but a horse box behind the car, Anyway, I sat into this thing and went, Paddy couldn't drive anyway at that time. We drove down to Foynes, and he was so strong we had to take all this bales of bacon off the back of it onto the ship,
Yeah.
No pallet trucks or anything in those. There's a fork trucks, all into the dockers, and they're throwing them down, And there was Paddy. He was about 6'3", I'd say, and he was about 18 stone. Big, strong man, pair of hands like buckets,
Yeah.
The perspiration was pouring off me, I'm not joking. When the time we were finished, we come up anyway with Foynes, and I remember, any other fella they'd have barred him from going into the factory,
Okay.
But came up into Foynes and went in for a pint, and Paddy was having lemonade. He didn't drink.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said, a pint of lemonade and a pint of Guinness. And the woman behind the counter put the pint of Guinness in front of Paddy and then put the lemonade in front of me. And we swapped them around, and she stopped back and she looked, she couldn't but laugh. Anyway, it was a fella like that, and a big fella that could eat him. And
that's gas. She thought that he wanted his Guinness.
But he was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let you down in case... or if anything, you'd be talking, because I was very friendly with him anyway, I'd be talking about something I was doing in the house. We lived in another house in Patricksville, a very old house.
Okay.
It was falling down around us. So, anyway, well, it wasn't, but it was took an awful lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
And I've often said about cheapers, what's happening to me now, I come out and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, no, Paddy, it's all right. I'll be out. Don't get anyone.
Just a good man.
Yeah. Next thing, he'd be out. 10 minutes later, Paddy'd be out, up in a ladder someplace or something. He'd get his brother then, he'd come out and he'd do something. It'd be fixed in the morning for you.
It's very good, isn't it?
He was extraordinary, yeah.
When was this, Michael? So when did he help you out in fines and everything when that strike was on?
Oh, he just came down to unload the lorry with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, if they hear that now, they'll probably be annoyed, the fellas, but I don't think they were. I couldn't leave the stuff sitting inside. It was perishable, every time they'd be going on strike because Shaws were going on strike or something.
Right,
they'd be going on Shaws because Mattesons them Shaws became Clover Meats.
Yep.
And Japless, they seemed to be going on strike and our fellas then, they wouldn't work or something. I don't know, I've nearly forgotten about it, but I know it was quite common that there was going to be a strike, Whereas the other two, you kind of rarely ever even heard the word mentioned,
Yeah, that's mad, Michael.
Yeah. But having said that, they were difficult, but they were the nicest fellas you could meet. Yeah. The 90% of them,
They're fab. Some of them are lovely.
Yeah, lovely fellas, really nice gentlemen. And they were kind of a special breed unto themselves. I don't know what it was. They were gentlemen, there was no roughness in them. You wouldn't be allowed to use bad language or anything like that, which except some of them,
A lot of them in the factories were all family as well, weren't they?
Oh, they were all sons and daughters and grand. They'd 3 generations in it or something,
It's very good. You wouldn't see
and my father wouldn't let you use. You couldn't use the word damn in front of my father.
Yeah.
And I'm not great now because my tongue isn't always good, And I remember one time something happened in the factory, and I can't remember what it was, and I told this fella to go and fuck himself or something,
Yeah.
And next thing, the committee were called, and I was told I had to come down in front of them all and apologise to him.
Yeah. Did you?
I did. I did. I came down, I shook his hand, I wrote his name, but I won't mention his name because he was very difficult.
Yeah.
And I shook his hand and I said, I'm sorry, so-and-so, I promise you I won't fuck you out of it anymore. I won't ever fuck, I promise, I'll never fuck you again. I won't ever say fuck again, and I'm terribly sorry. I know, anyway, and I went away. My father heard about it.
Made a point anyway.
He heard about it then, and someone told him.
Yeah.
And he called me in, I remember, and he said to me, I don't believe what I'm hearing. He said, you've reached gutter snipe level. I couldn't tolerate it at all. He was great, he was right.
Pure gentleman, was he?
Oh, he was perfectly right. He was as tough as nails.
Was he?
Oh, jeepers, I'm not joking you. Hard, strong. My son Mike is the image of him.
Is he?
Same build and everything. Strong and great work, fierce worker. but also a great sportsman. Every race meeting in Ireland, he did everything but eat hay, we used to say, you know. And a fantastic golfer. Yeah.
Very good.
He was a funny family man that way, actually. I don't think he ever went on family holidays together. Okay. My dad was off
golfing or
racing or something. My mother and my grandparents came from Kerry. Ballybunion. My grandfather was a doctor. My mother's father was a doctor in Ballybunion.
Okay.
And we used to be banged off down there at Christmas, Easter and things. And my mother would come down too sometimes, you know. I'd had to come down and play golf for 2 days or something. Then he'd be gone off to the races or something. Or then he'd be gone up to Letterkenny and, you know.
Checking in the factory there.
But he was a very good operator, you know, and I think, all right, you know.
That's very good.
They were a different generation, you know. He wouldn't know how to cook an egg, for example.
Businessman, anyway, Michael. I'd say he was a good businessman.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What was the management structure like in the factory?
There was the managing director who would have been over everything.
Yeah.
There was a general manager in every factory.
Yeah.
There was an assistant general manager in every factory.
Okay.
And there was what was called a foreman.
Yeah.
On the factory floor. And then there'd be a supervisor in one or two departments. That was it.
So
and there was originally an accountant.
Yeah.
Who did all the books and everything. And there was never a bother. There was no computer. The accounts were done
perfectly.
Nothing done every year. Then we got computerised. Then we had to get an accountant in each factory. Then we had an assistant accountant in each factory.
Yeah.
The IDA were insisting that we'd have. They were into the IDA got notions. They had financial control was a big thing, and they should get a grant for years. Then it became human resources, which is a shocking name anyway to call anyone who works, because I don't consider myself a human resource.
Right.
anyway, okay. So you were supposed to have a HR man, or you wouldn't get a grant. And then they went on to the next one was marketing. You would have to have someone to get a grant. Then you had to have research and development of the factory, or you wouldn't get a grant. They made all these demands.
When did this happen, Michael? That's a lot of changes.
When people started between the 50s and 70s. Sorry, is she jumping up?
No, there she is. Not at all. No.
But they put in all these conditions for you to get a grant.
Yeah.
And the grants were 60 or 70%. So if you didn't do it, you wouldn't get the grant. And Daisy, behave yourself.
Oh no, she's fine.
She'll annoy you. Come on,
she
Daisy.
Won't.
Like a good little dog. Behave yourself. Don't mind shaking. Just that's it. She's too affectionate. She's a good girl. If you didn't get the 70% grant, your competitor got that. So you had to do it. You had to do what they told you.
Yeah.
So we had a HR fellow that was I think was one of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we had a research and development in Claremorris. We had a laboratory there and things like that.
Yeah. Sure. And did you have to have them in each of the factories?
Don't, Daisy, stop. Sorry.
Not at all. No, not at all.
Here, Daisy.
Totally fine.
Peace, because you know you keep jumping on you.
Oh, no, I don't. She's totally fine.
Come on, Daisy.
She's going after you.
Daisy, go in there and mind the house. Come on, Daisy. Good girl. Go on, feed. Good job. No.
She's casting, isn't she? No, Michael, she's totally fine.
Will you have a cup of coffee now?
No, I'm good, Michael. Thank you.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Thanks so much. Thank you. Michael, what was there many women in the factory?
There were, yeah. And there was the women. We made sausages as well, you know, and cooked meats and all those kind of things. And they'd be in those, the packing rooms and all those. There'd be women.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was a thing called the casing room, where the intestines of the pigs were all made into some terrible job. And there were women doing a lot of the women there. And they were great, some of them, absolutely great workers too. Wherever I remember when they were coming in with shawls. In Limerick,
shawls?
They used to have black shawls. A lot of the older women coming to work.
Okay.
In the 50s.
Why is that? Well,
because they used to all wear shawls in Limerick. All the older women wore shawls.
Yeah.
Like a rug.
Yeah.
You might have seen pictures in the paper of them at that time, you know?
No, but I keep an eye out though.
Yeah, you'd see them. I might have some pictures, but I looked up a file there. I thought I'd find something, and I didn't. I very bad. I files all over.
Fine.
But that woman probably has some of them, you know?
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I have a thing in the Claremorris factory, but you don't want that. That's no good to you.
No, it wouldn't be too bad, I'd say, Michael.
I had to write it for a paper in Claremorris about a year ago.
Okay.
And I think I have a copy of it on the computer, and I can print it out.
Yeah, it'd be great.
But tear it up if you want to, because
it
was boring. But I can tell you how diverse the factory was.
Yeah, which is really good though, because you were all the same family. Yeah.
But, I mean, it was a completely different factory to Limerick.
Yeah.
I mean, We had a canning factory there. We had a tweed factory there.
What factory?
Tweed. Okay. We made tweed. We made the first curtains for Shannon Airport. Were made in the factory. They were born in and green, white, and gold in the bottom.
That's gas.
My first communion suit was made, or confirmation suit was made in the woolen mill. I was mortified. I remember wearing tweed suit so when all the other fellas were dressed up in Dublin.
Yeah, suits and it was a tweed.
I had to sell the company's tweeds, you know.
Yeah.
We made. I give you the thing because my brain is gone, but we did fantastic things there. For example, during the war, we did a blacksmith working, and we had a good few horses, apart from we had horses to do the work in the factory.
It's in Claremorris.
Yeah, but he used to do all the metal work in the factory.
Yeah.
And we invented, we had carpenters in the factory too. One of the carpenters and himself invented bodies for the lorries. With double decks. We were the first people to build a double-decker lorry. Half the top deck was only half, and with 30 pigs in the bottom and 20 in the top or something.
Okay.
And that they could carry more. And that was, we were the first, and they did it in the fact. He made the. Well, this is all in Claremorris now.
Yeah.
But the worse than that, which is, this is hard to believe, an engineer there. When the petrol became scarce, your grandfather or something now will be able to confirm this for you. There was no petrol in this country, and cars used to run on gas.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about that? No.
Yeah.
He invented gas cylinders, 2 cylinders. The lorry was like that. You know, the body is there.
Yeah.
Move the body back, and in here between the cab and the body, he put 2 cylinders, big cylinders like that. One was a filter, and the other used to burn charcoal.
Okay.
And the charcoal would go in through this filter, and the gas would go into the engine, and it used to run the lorries. And the charcoal we were in the timber business, and we made the charcoal, and the charcoal was burnt in this through the tweed that made the filters that he made into the lorries.
Michael, that's crazy.
It is unbelievable now. That's why people don't know, and no one has ever asked me about that, except a magazine up in Crossboyne in Mayo rang me one time and said he knew about what went on in Claremorris, and he said, would you ever give me some details in it? And I kind of said, I will, you know. Then I still couldn't remember, but I went back over thing, and some of the older people were I went one or two of the very older people that were actually older than me, which takes a bit of doing, you know. and I did, and they filled me in and things too, you know. And I wrote this, so I'll give you a copy of it.
And just tears. Brilliant, that'd be really good.
It's far more interesting than the Limerick factory, I think, you know.
So Claremorris was your main factory.
Some fellow in Dublin got it from me recently through the man who was the chairman of the public company, rang me and asked me would I give this man some information about Claremorris, and I happened to have this, and I said, look, I'll give him this. I don't even know what he wants it for, but he has it, and whether he was going to publish it or not, I don't know.
Maybe
he wouldn't publish with my English anyway on this, because I mean it's not very good, but it's written down.
Even if he just researches it and then redoes it or whatever.
Just give me a second, let's see if it's on the computer.
Perfect, Michael. I'll pause these.
I never did an awful lot of like socialising in Limerick much at all, really. But I mean, I'd have Limerick any day before I'd have Dublin, to be honest.
Would you?
I mean, at least it's worse now, because I mean the only objection I have to, I hate going into Limerick, because you can't park any place. You're driving round and round and then you park it, and I've got to the stage. Angela has a respectable car, and sometimes I take her car, you know. And I spend my time walking around Limerick looking for my van, and discover about an hour later that it's her car I have, and what's the number of her car, and where is it, you know. I found her car one day. I couldn't remember the number of it, but I thought I'd know the look of it, you know. And I saw the look of it, and it has one of these things, you press the button to open the door, you know. And jeepers, I was pressing the button, and the same name was in the back of it, whoever we bought it from, you know, and I thought the number looked the same. Kept pressing it and pressing it, no,
wasn't opening.
The bloody car. And what am I going to do now? Anyway, this is having searched for it for ages. Next thing, I see the lights flashing. Oh, this is great. But I see a fellow opening the door, getting in, he drives off. It wasn't my car at all.
No, and, oh my God. So your car will be gone.
So the only thing is that other than that, Limerick is grand, because Limerick is a nice place to shop. The people are nice, aren't they?
Limerick,
I mean, they're
friendly. There are loads of shops, Michael, that sold the Limerick produce.
Yeah, pardon?
Was there loads of shops that sold Limerick's produce at the time?
Oh, there would have been, yeah. Oh, there would have been. There was Michael Sheehan was the salesman for Limerick, a van salesman.
Okay.
But he was the head salesman for Limerick, and Michael Sheehan would
for O'Mara's, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still selling stuff called Michael Sheehan on Sun.
Is he?
And he's nearly as old as I am.
Oh,
but he's not actually. He's a good few. About 7 or 8 years younger.
Okay.
But Michael had a big lot of customers in Limerick, I think. It would be the biggest, you know.
Fantastic.
And Supercoin then. But after that, we had locally in Claremorris and locally in Donegal.
Yeah.
And we had a van going into Connemara, because I remember doing that at my sales days, you know.
Driving up to Connemara.
Yeah, 1,000 van, and they used to put a ton on the van when I was leaving.
Yeah.
It was a 2-day run.
Yeah.
And you'd go out, we'd creep out to Ballinrobe with the van up like that.
Okay.
And you'd get some of the stuff off it in Ballinrobe, and then you'd go into Cong, and you'd get another bit off, and then you'd go into Cornamona, and you got another, and the van was coming up to the 1,000 where that you could drive the bloody thing.
Okay.
But I remember coming home, and you'd stay out, and I used to stay out in Tierney, Lettermore Island.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home one night, and there was a partition between the van and the back of the van, so that the stuff wouldn't hit you on the head, you know. Mm-hmm. But it was one of these old vans, and the snow started to snow, as it can do up in that part of the world, you know. A real blizzard now, it was in the winter. And the wiper started to go on the next thing. I couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
How am I going to get home? I'd be stopping every 10 minutes, you know.
To wipe the window.
But you could open the window in those days, you could put it out. So I said, bugger it, I opened the window anyway. And I drove in, I got into the factory in Claremorris, and there was a watchman, a gateman. And it was late at night, and I'd blow the horn or whatever he was doing. Out he came, and he was opening the gate, and he looked at me and he said, I don't believe what I'm seeing. He said, look at you. And I said, what? I said, got out of the van. There's the shape of my head, and the shoulders all around.
On the car?
And the rest of it was frozen snow. And no heaters in those days.
No, I was going to say, there's no heaters in your bed. Yeah. That's so funny, Michael.
And certainly no radios.
Yeah.
You know.
Long days, my God.
I always remember that selling Connemara. James, I used to love going out there.
That's gas.
Yeah, because they were gas men. And you know what I used to do, hard to believe? When you were leaving the office in the morning, you had to find out what the dollar was worth. And
why is that, Michael?
Because a lot of the people in Connemara were getting money home from their relations in America. And they pay in dollars. Okay. Yeah, this has been the 50s now.
Right, I didn't know this.
And the other thing was road checks, I always remember. You had to know what the road checks were fellas that were getting, they used to have road works to keep people employed out in Connemara. Yeah. And you get paid in road checks.
That's mad. Yeah, I didn't know any of that. So what would you do with the road check then? I
don't know, road checks, I don't think there was any trouble about them, because I can't remember, you had to be told something about them. Yeah. But they'd be like £12 and 6 pence or something.
And would you cash it in then?
But the dollar, you see, could be worth, in those days, my memory serves me right, you'd get £5 to $1 or something at some time. I'm not sure if it was that. I know that they were getting loads of pounds for their dollar at the time. Okay. And that's why the American army coming over from Germany, we used to think they were millionaires, because now all you get is what's this? It's $1. It's $1 is worth 1.18 or something like that.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's not. Hold on. Yeah.
But you had to check it every day, because it was changing, and you were getting paid in dollars. Yeah. So if the rate had changed a good bit, you weren't getting paid enough, or you were getting paid too much. You know?
You had to be quick thinking of it.
We didn't even have calculators, you know.
Michael, you had tough time. It was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was tough enough.
Tough jobs. Yeah. Did you like working there?
Parts of it I liked. I never liked the slaughtering the animals. I liked the butchering and cutting up the line, but not the live animals. No, I wasn't great at that now, because I happen to like all animals. It seems
like a tough job.
Feed birds all over the place out there.
Little birds.
Dogs, I kept horses, and the horses would be so tame that they'd follow me out of the place and things, you know. So I'll show you the garden in a minute. I'll show you the size of it.
I'll pause this.
I take kilos of feed to put on a kilo of pig meat.
Okay.
And you had to get 22 pigs per every sow per litre, which was huge, you know. Yeah. Because years ago it used to be 7 and 8 per sow. But we were actually getting 20 and 21 up in North Donegal. I don't ever remember getting an average of 22, but average was about 20 or 21. Okay. And if you didn't get that, you were out of business nearly.
It really was like a science, wasn't it? Feeding the pigs.
Yeah, tough business.
My God. Michael, thanks very much for that. Thank you.
Wait till I get this thing for you. Let's see, I'll resume my typed out from it.